we're back. While some just can't get this day started without it, while others claim it has little to no impact on their energy levels. We're back this week in Markets Unusual with Gary Alfonso looking at coffee. Hi, Gary.
If I told you I'm coming to dinner with Robusta, what would you think?
I would think you're bringing a very big bodyguard to dinner.
Yeah, in a way it would be a bodyguard, but actually Robusta is one of the two main cultivars of coffee bean in the world. And this, by the way, is just a medium roast, sort of freshly roasted artisan Arabica coffee. But it's not Robusta because Arabica and Robusta are the two main beans from which coffee is produced globally and in coffee producing countries. It is the production of coffee that's placing pressure on the price of the consumer coffee that we are going to be buying at our favorite retail store, at our outlets. You know that our friends and those of us who have daughters and sons are always on the lookout for places to go buy their special cuppa of cappuccino or something like that. So the interesting thing about the two cultivars, before we come to the coffee producing countries in the world, the interesting thing is that Robusta is a much more bitter bean, and it's produced primarily, as we see here, in Indonesia and Vietnam, where in slightly more northern climates, the Robusta bean seems to be a major production, and whereas Arabica, which is a much more smooth, and that's where we get the nice filter coffees from, and the softer, smoother, kind of coffees that people are becoming used to. That's in the countries like Brazil and also in Colombia in South America, where some of the biggest production is taking place. Now, cultivars aside, if you now look at where coffee is produced worldwide, and you discuss this, it's very clear that Brazil has always and will always be the biggest coffee producer in the world. And the second largest producer is Colombia, and then third Indonesia, and fourth Vietnam, as we discussed. But the biggest coffee consuming markets are completely outside of this equatorial belt. It's in the US and in Europe. That's where cold temperatures, and you know what people are like when it's cold, they need their cuppa, etc., etc. So the coffee producing and coffee consuming markets are two different places. The price of coffee, the reason why it's going up when you look at the futures market in the US, the reason why coffee is going up and the price at which traders buy coffee, looking at a future market value, the reason why it's gone up more than 25% in the last 2-3 years, the reason why it's grown so much is because there is a slowdown in demand in many of these countries. Brazil's production of both Arabica and Robusta is down by about 10% because of floods. Because of bad weather conditions. In Vietnam, the opposite. And these global weather patterns are causing havoc in global markets, in supply chains, where there is a disproportionate faster growth of consumer increase in what we call cyclical consumables and cyclical commodities. So you see here on the just in the past year, the 5-year graph is the one that gives you the more precise growth. But as you can see, consistently growing, and they expect this to grow by at least at a calculated annual growth rate of about 7 to 8% for the next 5 years, from 2024 to 2029. The price of both Robusta and of Arabica is going to increase significantly, and by the way, Robusta currently is the highest it's been in 45 years, the price of the raw product of Robusta. So just an interesting trend to watch, that as we discussed in previous shows about Markets Unusual, the price of coffee and chocolates and a couple of things, the future markets are telling us there's a shortage of supply coming from the production countries around the world. So maybe a good time to start stocking up on some coffee and coffee beans, and to be sure that if you do need that kick in the morning, that you get it in the right place.
I more than need that kick in the morning, Gary. Thank you so much for your time. Always a pleasure having you here on Markets Unusual. That was the Business Days at Gary Alfonso.